Welcome everybody. So today we're working on some amethyst. I've got a pewter lap with tin oxide. Welcome. Nice to see you guys. Hope everyone's doing well today. So we're doing something totally different today, something that I never did until yesterday, which is polishing with loose oxide powder. I gotta give a shout out to my mentor Ken in Ipswich, England, because he's been coaching me on this for the last couple days on WhatsApp. Because I never knew how to do loose oxide polishing before. I just never did it. Nobody ever showed me. I never tried it. I've only ever used like the Gear Loose crayons and all that stuff. But this is I don't know, sort of more old school. And it took me a couple days to figure it out. I was not doing it right in terms of how you actually apply the oxides and stuff. But now it's looking pretty good. I'm working on a very typical round brilliant amethyst. And the stone, I don't know, something got weird last night. The stone started rotating on the dop in the glue somehow, so I am just finding my first index again and putting it where it needs to be, but it looks like I'm realigned again, so I'll show you guys what I'm working on real quick. Just want to finish this one facet up so it looks nice. Okay, so let's go to, whoops, that didn't work. Okay, close-up view. So this is what we're working on today. I'm on the pavilion side. I've already done the crown. You can see that I've already polished the 8 main facets, and now on these 2 indices, the stone is done, but you see on the other side, all my little break facets are still frosty. I just reoriented my index so my index is right again, so when I go to +2 and -2, it should be actually on. So this is the next one I'm about to start cutting, this left side of the V, as I call it. And then I'm going to basically go around and do all these ones. So here's my setup. I've got the pewter lap. Now this is something that I had custom made. My mentor Ken in England, he was using a lap like this, and I was really impressed with what he was doing. I didn't just have this made so I could polish amethyst. It's working well for that, but this is for another project later that I'm going to be talking about probably next year or like this summer, a research project that I'm working on about polishing out surface reaching inclusions. It's fusing the flaws, as he calls it. So I got this made for that, but in the meantime, I wanted to try some of his techniques for using oxide powder, tin oxide specifically, on a tin lead lap. So it's working pretty well. Basically, what I had to figure out was that thank you, that you can't use the water drip while you're doing this, otherwise it doesn't really work. Basically what you have to do, and I can just show you what I've got going on the side here, if I can. So down here I've got just a little cup of water, which I'm basically dipping my finger into and then applying it to the lap. This is how I'm keeping the lap wet. And then while my hand is wet, I can dip my finger into the oxide powder, get a little stuck on my finger. It has to be more wet than that. And it kind of becomes soft. And then I can smear it over the lap. But basically, if it's not wet enough, if it doesn't become like a paste on your finger, what I'm learning, it doesn't stick to the lap. It just flies off and doesn't polish anything. So it's got to be sort of feeling kind of sticky. And if you've got the water drip going, it just shoots it off. This is what I've been trial and erroring this stone for more than 2 days now. But now I've got finally figured out how to do it in a way that works. So let's get back to my facet and we'll see how this goes. So still just double checking to make sure that my indexes are right from realigning the stone. The other thing is the oxide method is messy. It's not, to me, it's not at all like using diamond powder. It's got a different feeling, and you can see every time you lift it up to look at the stone, it looks like this. There's just a bunch of crap on it that you have to continuously wipe off, and if you just wipe it with your finger, it doesn't come off. It's like stuck on there because it's dried powder already. So basically you just have to keep wiping it all the time, which I don't know, is a little bit, it's different. It's a little bit annoying, but I'm figuring it out. So I guess I'll leave this close-up cam a little bit over here so you can see what, you can kind of see how I'm grabbing the powder as I go, because as I'm learning, it takes a lot of maintenance, continuous effort to use this technique. The nice thing though is I'm going straight from a one-step cutting into the polishing with no middle steps. And what my friend's telling me is they're going straight from a 400 grit cut to the tin oxide with no in-between steps, no pre-polish, no nothing. So that's pretty cool. That's definitely a time saver. Yeah, now that I've got this going, it seems to be going pretty nicely. So I'm just going to keep going around. And, oh no, yeah, there's totally a benefit because, well, there's a couple reasons why I wanted to do this. Yes, historical, that's an interesting reason for me, but that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because I don't have a good way of polishing quartz. I mean, the old way of polishing quartz for me is the polishing films. Let me grab one and show you what I'm talking about if you haven't seen it. So I don't know if you guys have used these before. So this is a cerium oxide film. So I can just basically place this on top of a lap and, with water, that will polish the quartz. But usually after 1 or 2 stones, this thing's pretty trashed. And these are $2 or $3 each, so I don't really want to spend $2 or $3 every time I want to polish a stone. So this works, but to me it's not realistic. Also, I can't buy them in Thailand, so I have to import them. It's not realistic. The other way you can do it is with the gear loose crayons, like for instance, the bat crayons. So I've got a few different ones, the zirconium oxide. This works well for quartz. I did use this one for the top side because I'm comparing how the zirconium is versus the tin oxide. But yeah, you basically can just rub this on here like a crayon. And that works as well. I use that on this lap. It worked really well for the top of the stone. But I just didn't know how to do any loose oxides, you know, and before Gearloose started making the sticks, there was only one way to polish quartz or any stone with oxides. You have to do it this way, which is manually wetting the lap and manually applying the powder constantly as you're going. So this isn't really a historical technique. I mean, I'm sure if we went down into South America where they're polishing tons of emeralds and tons of amethysts, they must be doing this all the time, because there's not really another good way to polish amethyst. And my third reason for doing this is because I want to be able to eventually teach this in my class, because right now in the class we're only learning how to cut with diamond powder, you know, how to polish with diamond powder. So if people want to, and so far when people ask me to do quartz or, you know, any quartz, I just say, hey, you know, we're not set up to do it, because for me, I always was using the films and stuff, or the bat sticks. And so, yeah, I want to be able to teach people how to do this, so I have to learn how to do it myself. So maybe once I've done this a lot more, and I've tried, because now I have, you know, there's a lot of different oxides. Like there's chrome oxide, the green one that people sometimes use for emeralds. There's tin oxide, which is what I'm using now. There's cerium. There's alumina oxide, which people like for garnets. So, you know, before the 50s, before there was synthetic diamond powder, diamond was not the most common way to polish stones. This is kind of a recent development, you know, before me, but still, in the scale of gem cutting, diamond powder is pretty new, and oxides were really where it was at. And even now, some people really love oxides. I mean, some people only use oxides. So, you know, can't really call myself a good gem cutter if I don't know one of the staple things. So I'm learning, and it's going well now. I was feeling a little discouraged the last couple days, but then last night I got it, and yeah, what it really came down to was the drip tank. I was letting the drip over it, and I wasn't really getting the oxide to turn into a slurry. It was just like dust and water not mixing together. So now it's working. And so what I'm learning now is how, you know, the feeling is way different. I know this one can be used for all different oxides. The cool thing of the oxides is they just wash off. They don't embed in the lap at all. I mean, I don't know if it's kind of the consistency of flour. It's not abrasive feeling in any way. So you can just wash it off. But actually, what my mentor was telling me was, if you basically what he calls hacking up the lap. So if I take either a blade and kind of skim the top surface off of the lap, or what he uses is bricks, and I might show you guys that in a little bit. He's using bricks to rough up the surface of the lap. He said when you rehack the lap, you can actually switch over to diamond, and then you can rehack the lap and switch back over to oxides, because basically you're taking off a layer of metal off the top of the lap. So this lap is actually going to be used for both diamonds and oxides. If you're not emotionally prepared to, you know, hack the surface of your lap up, then yeah, you're not going to be able to do that. But that's what I was asking him, like, should I save this lap for diamond or should I save it for oxides? And he was like, you know, we go back and forth. We don't really care. So I was pretty impressed. I haven't tried it myself, but I'm sure that I will at some point. Or I could just flip it over, because I definitely want to use this lap with diamond as well, because I want to experiment with it. Yeah, and so as you can see, surface, when you first pick it up, it's pretty crusty. So the one that I'm working on is the one that you can kind of see outlined right here. So you can kind of see what you're doing, but there's always this you know, all this crud on it when you're working on it, which you have to just keep rubbing off, and it doesn't come off that easy with your finger. So when you want, you know, when I'm seeing my surface, it's nice, but when I want to get the meat points good, I really need to like almost like scratch it off, because it's really stuck on there. But the good thing is, so far the technique seems to be awesome, because it's not making scratches. It's not giving me any of the kind of troubles that diamond sometimes does, and the polish is super, super shiny, like 100K shiny. I don't know if you guys can tell just, whoops, oh, just from looking at the video. I mean, looking at this thing on the screen, but it's way shinier than my normal polish grit, and I appreciate that. So I'm gonna keep on doing with this one. What I'm figuring out now is how, because it feels different, you know, and I'm stretching out my facets as I go, because my technique's not perfect on this one right now, so sometimes I'm over polishing and messing up the meat points. So I'm gonna go back through after I polish everything and kind of even out the meat points and get everything back to perfect. But it's interesting because it doesn't feel at all the same, you know, when you start to stretch the facets out. It doesn't feel the way that I'm used to it feeling with diamond. You know, it's a lot more rough. The diamond, or you know, because diamond's with oil, so it feels more slick. And this one is, I wouldn't call it slick. It feels pretty coarse actually, and yeah. So whatever. That's kind of cool. It's interesting to compare. This is kind of what I wanted to know, was how different is the oxide powders compared to the experience of the diamond. So I'm just going through. Partially my meat points are getting a little bit weird because since my stone came off, and I don't know, it's not really perfectly back aligned. Hi Yvette, welcome to the party. So as I'm going around and touching each one of these, I'm slightly adjusting the index, or the well, yeah, the cheater and the height of the plate, so that I can get them perfect. Like for instance, right now, I'll show you what I mean. So if we can check out, let's see if I can. Not so easy to show you polished meat points. Let's see here. Okay. It's so shiny. Okay, you see there's a V right there. It's really hard. It's really hard to show this to you guys. Oh, there we go. There we go. It's hard to show because there's so many lights on it. But okay, there's a V. It's super subtle without seeing it with a super high magnification, but the left side of the V is slightly lower than the right side. I can't really get any more zoomed in to show you than that, but what I'm doing is trying to make them both the same height. Yeah, it's not very hard. It's not very easy to show this one. It's without the frosted. Maybe I can find another one that. Oh, okay. Well, I'll show you on this one. I think it'll be easier to see. Notice, yeah, it's really, this one's much easier to see. Notice how the left side of the V, the left triangle, is not as tall as the right triangle. So when I'm polishing, I'm putting all these back I want them to all be exactly the same height. And so, yeah, like that one is good. The two of them are the same size. They meet at a point in the middle at the bottom. They're a little bit open, but I'll close them as I go. But sometimes if I'm not, if I don't adjust my plate height exactly right as I go, then I'll make them too tall or too fat at the bottom. And since I'm still getting used to the oxide powder, I'm making a lot of mistakes. But they're mistakes that I can easily fix. I just have to go back and do them when I'm done. But yeah, this stuff's pretty shiny, and I'm excited to see the stone ones finished because I've never seen one with this kind of polish before, so that'll be kind of cool. So I'm adding more water with my finger just to keep it wet, and checking my index, checking my cheater settings. And it looks okay. So how's everybody doing today in their various parts of the world? We're like for us, this is week 3 of social distancing. So we've been in the house now for more than 14 days, only going out once a week to get groceries. We've been doing some group Skypes with some friends down the street, doing some video chats with friends on Facebook and whatever. Are you guys having the same experience? Are you guys still working? Are you stuck in the house, or what's going on? I think for me this was a good, it ended up being a good time to start doing streaming of cutting, because I wouldn't have been able to do this with such consistency before because I was going to work every day, and I think everybody else would have been doing whatever they do every day. So now we're all at home, I think, and we have more time to spend connecting on the internet. Okay, so kind of the same as us, except for our office closed, so we don't even get the option of going in there anymore. So home is office now. So now what I'm trying to learn as far as this oxide goes is how wet does it need to be? Do I have to keep applying water like every second, or can I do it every minute? I'm not totally sure. And also, what happens when the oxide dries up? Is it still going to polish, or is it going to make a scratch, or what? I don't know. So these are all mysteries of the oxides that I'm learning. So I don't know if you guys are seeing any of the other stuff that I'm posting on social media, but I'm now doing regular webinars since we're all stuck at home and we're looking for all kinds of things to entertain us. I started doing webinars on Wednesdays. So if you guys are free tomorrow, or I guess it's Monday for you guys if you're in America. So Wednesday. It's tomorrow for me, but maybe it's Wednesday for you guys. It's Wednesday for me too, but you're not into Tuesday yet. So anyway, Wednesday morning, I think. Yeah, Wednesday morning for you guys. I'm giving a talk on Twitch. I've started to just decide that because I did a Facebook streaming last Wednesday for a talk, and that was okay, but like a lot of people were saying that they were having troubles with lag because their computer was too slow, and it seems like Twitch is probably working better for that, so I decided I'll just stream everything on Twitch now. So feel free to come here on Wednesday morning, and I'm going to give a talk about gemstones as they've been depicted in paintings from the Renaissance until now. Should be pretty fun. I'm excited about that talk. Yeah, it's pretty similar, I would say, to the Gearloose and the Matrix. I've got a Matrix that I use sometimes. It's a dominatrix actually, so it's just the matrix on the middle. But I don't usually use it. I don't use it with, or I haven't used it with any of the oxide sticks. Only with the diamond powder sticks. So, but yeah, you got to just keep getting it wet. And keep scratching off the gunk. What I'm going to try and do later, see if I can hack this technique a little bit. I think I mentioned this before, I'm not sure, but a friend of mine showed me how to make my own cerium sticks. So this is basically like the Gearloose crayon. It's wax and cerium. I'm going to try and make one that's wax with tin oxide and see how that works on here. This one didn't work very well, but I think it's because the kind of cerium that I bought, I don't know why, it's just not the right stuff. Because it came from Thailand, I think it's not really cerium or something like that. It wasn't working at all. Maybe I should try it again later, but yeah, the Gearloose sticks are really nice, but they're pretty expensive, and I can't get them out here, so we're just learning how to make our own stuff. Thank you for being at the last talk. That was fun too. That was only the second time I've ever been able to give that talk, so I was happy to have an excuse. The lapidary medicine and gem cutting. It's a interesting little micro niche of history. And yeah, definitely fun. I think this coming one's going to be even better though. I've got so many nice pictures that I've been collecting over the years, and I've been sharing them on Instagram and stuff, but I haven't ever gotten a chance to properly like talk about them or put together like a narrative. And so this talk is going to be about basically going through century by century and looking at how not only how the gems developed, but how the painting styles changed, and how the depiction of gemstones evolved, and kind of just talking about how what can we tell from looking at these paintings, you know, because we can see things change, whether they're the painting style of the gem or the actual style of the gem itself and the jewelry. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's not something I've really heard people talk about before. So yeah, I'm interested to see. It's the first time I'll do this one, so it's maybe a bit improvised. Okay, so this is going along well. My index isn't not perfect, but I'm just adjusting as I go. Every facet seems to be in a slightly different place than where I expect it to be, but it's okay. You won't even be able to know in the end. So after I finish the amethyst, I got a sapphire to work on. I think I'll finish the amethyst quite quickly because it's almost done now. And then we can look at some, we're doing some custom designs for this certain piece of amethyst. And trying to make up a new pattern. Yeah, now that I get the feel for this one, it's quite easy actually. Oh, that was it, okay. All the facets are polished now, but they're not all even. So I'm gonna, the Cheapside rose, that one belongs to somebody else. So I just wanted to capture it before I sent it away. That was cool though. I've been wanting to do that one for a while. I made the design a while ago for, well, at the end of last year I was writing an article that hasn't been published yet about the history of cutting in London. It was a long article, like 50-page article, and it took months. But part of the research for that was looking at all these cuts in the Cheapside hoard. And so I ended up doing diagrams for all of them because I wanted to have like, like computer renderings of each style, because it's really hard to see them in the photos. I mean, the photos look good, but you can't see the facets very well. The stones look nice, but okay, so here's how it is now, which is maybe if I was trying to be fast, I could call this done, but yeah, definitely used for shallower stones. That's kind of what it was made for, and that's why I used it on that one. It was kind of a flat one I had. Okay, so zoom in here. And so you kind of see all my triangles. They're all there, they're all polished. They're not totally meeting up yet. They're all there. And I'm sure that if I flip the stone over, it'd be pretty sparkly. But I want to go for a certain level of precision that's not here yet. So what I have to do is go through and adjust the height of each one of these stars, these break facets. So basically I'm going to find the one that's the biggest, and that's going to be my reference point, and then I'm going to make all of them that high by adjusting my handpiece plate. Okay, and I think that's the one. So let's see here. So now I gotta be careful, because if I go too big, I mess them all up. Too tall, I mean. I can't go any taller than the one that's already there. Okay. So now I'm just doing really slight adjustments so that I can not overdo it. And probably normally if I was used to the feeling of this one, I would have been able to just modulate the heights as I went, but since I'm still getting the feel for this lap, I wasn't being as careful as I normally am. Okay, that one's good. But luckily the adjustment is slight. It just takes a little bit on each one. Just making it all a little bit taller by raising up my angle a little bit. What do you mean by the base? You talking about the handpiece plate? Yeah, I think you are. Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I went to the biggest one, and then I started cutting the one next to it, and raised the plate up a little bit so that I can get it high enough. But basically, they're all different, so I have to keep adjusting on each one. Basically, I just cut a little bit and look and see what happened, and then if it needs to go, a little bit higher, then I can raise it up. If it needs to get fatter at the bottom, then I lower it down. If I see that there's some weird line in the middle because my cheater's setting is different for this facet, then I tweak the cheater a little bit. So I'm kind of looking at 3 different things all at once, and every facet I have to do that again. So this is kind of like a freestyle a little bit. But really, this is what we always do this. This is how we always adjust facets. But with, I don't know, with diamond and oil, it's sort of a little bit smoother. But diamond and oil doesn't work on amethyst, so gotta figure something else out. Okay, that's good. So now I cut a little bit. I'm checking it. See what happens. The biggest thing is you just have to remember what the facet looks like and then notice what changes every time you pick it up. That's really the key. And then you see what needs done still, and you try to figure out in your imagination what is going to make that happen. So right now I'm looking at a triangle, and I'm only cutting like the top of the triangle, and there's like the rest of the triangles is not, you know, there's kind of like this line across the triangle where I can see I'm only polishing the top half. So I know in my mind that if I don't lower the plate, my triangle is going to go up and not down, and it's not going to be able to make a flat facet. So if I see that happening, I have to go down, and if I see that there's a line somewhere left to right, I know my cheater is a little bit off, and I have to move the cheater left or right in order to fix that problem. It does take a little while to get used to it, but really 3 or 4 stones, and you should be able to get it. Most of my students get it by the 3rd stone that we do, if not the 2nd. But yeah, it does take a little bit of practice. It's kind of like getting oriented to space, 3D space. A lot of it too is about manipulating the light in terms of, you know, I've got to move the stone into just the exact position to see my meet points and to see what's changed. And a lot of times for the new student, they're not used to that kind of critical observation. They're just looking at the stone the way that you look at some object, and they're not really realizing, okay, I have to put it in just the right angle to catch the reflected light. So I got to teach them how to see, then I got to teach them how to manipulate the stone on several different axes. So yeah, it takes a little while, and I feel like if you're just learning at home by yourself, it takes even longer. You know, have some patience, because, you know, just try to cut as many stones as you can, and then you learn along the way. Okay. Okay, so I'm almost done here. Got a few more to go. Just making them all a bit taller. Yeah, exactly. And the chrome oxide, from what I've heard, is not very good for you. So I think getting that on your fingers all day is quite bad. At least I think it depends on who's making it. As far as I've heard from Gearloose, the kind he uses is not toxic, but a lot of the normal ones are quite hazardous to your health. So you see every time that I go back down, for this one at least, I keep raising up the plate just a little bit because I want to go taller and taller and I don't want to get wider. So I'm just being very careful. Slowly, slowly. And that one's good. And it looks like the same setting is going to work well for the one next to it. That's usually the case. It's usually when you move to a new index that you have to, or a new set, I guess, that you have to make some adjustments. Yeah. I guess for me the biggest thing about this technique is figuring out or understanding how fast each facet polishes, because you know when you're doing diamond you kind of have a sense of, or at least I have a sense now of how fast each grit moves in polishing. So you know I kind of have an expectation of how long I need to hold the facet down on the lap to move a little bit. And this one I'm still figuring that out. It's quite quick in some ways. So you don't want to stay down on the lap too long, otherwise you're going to overcut. And I think I kind of got the timing down now. Hey, no problem. That's kind of the whole point, right? So that I can kind of share some of my knowledge with you guys as I'm going. Otherwise, it seems a little quiet. Okay, looks like I'm just about done. One more to go, I think. This one, the glass is loose. So basically I just, if I can take the back of my tweezers, or I don't know what I stuck in there, the tip of the tweezers, yeah. Let's stick the tip of your tweezers in there somehow. Or I don't know, I stuck the tip of something in there. Or just flip the machine upside down and it pops out. But sometimes when you buy them, they're glued. I asked them not to glue it. If they're glued, I don't think you can take the glass off. But yeah, I asked them not to glue it because I wanted to customize it a little bit. The first one that we ever had for the school, they had accidentally forgot to put the glass in there. So I had to get the glass thing made myself, and then that kind of gave me the idea, like, oh, I could put something under there. And we put the little school logo. And for my own machine at home, I wanted my own signature feeling. So yeah, if you can get the glass off. If it's glued, then don't try it, because we've had other people try to do that and they break. And that's not fun. Yeah, it's possible. I've got a friend in Antwerp who's got this machine, and he has a variable he has a variable speed a thing attached to his, and he didn't. I don't think he switched the motor. Um, this one I bought with the speed control. You can see this one has the speed control built in, so all I have to do is turn the knob and it goes all the way up to 2,500 and then down to 0. So that's pretty cool. I tried to do it on my old machine. I bought like a $15 fan speed controller. That did not work. I think the speed controller is going to need to be about $100. And it's like a box, and basically you have to, I think you need to cut the tip off the power cord and plug it into the box, and then the box plugs into the wall. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. But yeah, do some research because I never successfully was able to do it. Okay. A little bit more on that one. Okay, so now all my stars are aligned. And I gotta go back and do a couple of mains, push them down just a little bit. A few of them got pushed up, so let's come back and see what we can do. Looks like the stone is done. That's good. Now the last thing is, how do we polish the girdle? I have no idea. Yeah, classes in the school are in development. My next class idea is emeralds. I want to do a class, a 1-week class, just based on emerald polishing. It's going to be emeralds and beryls, so it's going to be 2 or 3 stones in 1 week. An emerald, maybe an aqua or a heliodor, and maybe just 2. I don't know. Maybe just 2 stones. It's 2 stones and a lot of lecture is pretty much a full week. So we'll see. I got to do some planning for that. Okay, let's see how that works. I have no idea if that's going to work. Not bad, not bad. Okay, I think the stone's finished. Okay, so let's check out the final view before I take it off the dop. Okay, so how can we do it? Everything's polished. Meat points are nice. All my triangles are the same size, no scratches. Girdle's polished, as you can see now. So now we're going to take it off the dop. So we can do that. Come over here. Oh, by the way, just to show it off, if you guys haven't seen some of my shirts, this is the one I made to celebrate this machine. It's 1979 Summer of Faceting Love. So this was the original Sterling machine from 1979, and they still have it. I went to see them in their factory, and they still had it there. So I thought it was so cool. I was like, let me make a shirt off that. We don't have a shirt that's celebrating this machine. So if you want to wear a shirt like this, you can check them out on my Etsy shop. There's a link just below the video screen that's going to the Etsy shop. There's stones on there, there's shirts, there are wall prints if you like having super close-up mineral shots on your wall. We've got a bunch in the house that are looking cool, so that really helps to, you know, give us some income and give us a way to share our creativity with you guys and in your house. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I've got my alcohol lamp. I've got my finished stone. What I need to do is heat up the dop so that I can melt the glue. Now, if I just do this by hand, the dop's going to get really hot. I'm going to burn myself. So what I have is a pair of locking tweezers. So I'm just going to put the dop into the locking tweezers. It's just a handle basically. And I'm just going to heat up the dop. I'm not really trying to heat up the stone, though the stone does get hot during this process. So I wouldn't do this with probably emeralds or opals or anything like that, anything temperature sensitive, but amethyst is okay. And basically you just keep trying to push the stone off the dop. As soon as the glue gets hot enough, it will just stop sticking. And once it gets soft enough, you can just slide it right off. But it has to get up to a certain temperature to do it. Yep, there we go. And that's hot right now, so we just let that cool off. We let this cool off. Even the tweezers are getting a little hot. We can cap that. Okay, so we let that cool down for a minute. And then we put it in the acetone. I guess in the meantime, because I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done today, I have more stones to work on. Yeah. So we can dop a new stone while we're waiting for that old stone to go. So yeah, these are just synthetics for a sample set that I need to make. So we can do a little wax dopping while we're waiting for the stone to cool down. Yep, still hot. Okay, so let's grab, so this is going to be our wax dop. I'm going to heat this up. Where's my tweezers? I'm going to heat this up. I'm going to roll it out here. I'm going to heat up my stone. I'm going to heat up the wax again. And then I'm going to drip the wax down onto the stone. Try to get it to get all over the place so it gives me a nice solid connection. And let me add a little bit more wax. Because I don't want any corners open. I want a nice ice cream cone shape. Let the wax flow together. And there we go. That's a nice prep. Now, finally, we need to align the stone because right now it's not, let me go back up. Right now that's not balanced. The stone's still pretty hot, so it's keeping the wax moist. And so I want to see if my table's flat, which it's not. And I want to see if my stone is centered. And so I'm just lining up the girdle edge with the silver ring. So I'm just visually confirming that it's centered. Yeah, that's good. Double check your table. My table's off a little bit now. Push it around too much. Oops, not that much. Okay, and then double check that I didn't throw anything off again. Okay, then that's our duffing. So now you can see nice smooth sides. It's balanced, it's straight. If you look at it from this point of view, notice that when I flip it around, if I can show it to you at the right angle, where it's lined up with the silver ring is the same. And same here, if I put on that line, put it on that line, it's lined up. So that's the wax stopping. This is ready to go. This is cool now, so we can put it into our acetone. And then that will just take a minute to melt our glue. And in the meantime, I'll come over here and switch my lap, because I'm all about saving time. So the sapphire. The sapphire is hard, and so I'm gonna start with my roughest lap, which is this Dreamer 240. Because it's gonna take a little bit of time otherwise. And I'm gonna put this stuff back in here. Close that. I don't need the oxide powders for now. I do need some fresh water though. Okay, let's check this out. And we'll see if the glue's off yet. Still there a bit, so we'll give it some more time on the acetone. Okay, now for this one, for the sapphire here, I need to check out, I've got a diagram that I'm working with. Hold on, I gotta get off my other computer. Okay, let's check our progress now. By now that the acetone should have melted all my that was tin oxide, but you can also use, for quartz, you can also use cerium oxide, and also, I don't know if you can buy it as powder, but the zirconium oxide stick also works very well. I use it for the top of the stone. So let's see now. Oh yeah, looking good. So give it a little spray off with the alcohol just to make sure everything's clean. Grab a fresh paper towel. Yeah, it looks good. Okay, let me show you guys over here so I can use the I think you can see that it doesn't really want to focus very well. But it's pretty sparkly, pretty shiny, nice color, and you can see nice meat points, nice cupid point. The ring light here that on the magnifying glass is a little bit weird. Let me try and turn it down a little bit. Maybe it's a little easier for the camera to see. Not really. But you get the idea. It's pretty sparkly. I'll post a nice photo up with the sunlight here in a little bit. Put it on my Instagram and Facebook stories so you guys can see the good, because this doesn't do the stone justice at all. Yeah, it looks blue. It's just the color of the lights, but it's purple. It's a nice purple. It's sparkly. So, okay, I think that's going to be it for today. I'm going to take a little break and then get into some stuff. So you guys won't get to see the finished version of this stone because it's not going to be for public eyes, but that's my preform that was sent to me for a synthetic sapphire. Actually, we can do a little bit more before I go because I can size up the stone. I haven't really shown you guys how that works. So let me just see what my size needs to be, and we'll do so 1.3. So okay, by request, this stone. Hold on, where's my calipers? I seem to have lost the calipers. Okay, so if you need to make a calibrated size, which I do for this piece, here's how you can do it. Well, first things first, let me align the stone into the index. So right now, I have it on 96 index. You see that it's crooked. I need to align the flat side to be straight with 96. So I do that with the plate. Yeah, secret sapphire. Okay, so I've got my feet flat. I've got them flat on the plate. This thing's loose, so I can turn it. And basically I'm just going to lower it down till it's flat. I can feel that it's flat. I'm just rocking it. And then I just tighten the top. And then tighten it again. Go back to 90. And well, so here's the point of the calibrated thing. What you have to do, is measure. So maybe we don't need this. So if I check out, so it's 8.1 pretty much by 10.6. So if I want to figure out what's my ratio, all I have to do is go on my calculator and do 10.6 divided by 8.1, 1.3. Actually, that's good. I don't need to do anything to this stone. That's exactly what I needed it to be. But what I do need to do is flatten the sides. So normally what I would do is I cut, measure, until I get to the size I want. But now I don't even need to get to any size. It's already where I want it to be, which is great. So all I need to do is flatten the sides. And I do it with this one because it's faster. So as soon as they're flat, I'm done. And then I want to flatten the table because this isn't going to be a baguette. So here's what it looks like now. It looks the same except for it's perfectly rectangular now, whereas before it was roughly rectangular. And I'm gonna flatten the table on 96. Okay, so that's where we're at now. Perfect rectangle. Now I'm going to show you the secret of the perfect cushion. So this is how we're doing it. So I take the stone out of the out of the handpiece, because you can't do the perfect cushion so I want to get a little closer in here. So you can get the action, and I'll get a little closer on this side too. Okay, so now, right, we're working with the rectangle shape, but the shape that I want to get, if I can show you here, it's gonna look like that shape. So you can see the cushion shape that I'm trying to get right here, and what it's going to look like down here. So, whoops, that's not the right way to do that. Okay, whatever. So that's the stone I'm building right now, and this is the rendering of it. It's going to look pretty cool when it's done. So that's my 1 to 1.3, and the software tells me right here 1.3. So that's what I'm going to be building. So let's see how we do it. Okay, so we're starting with the rectangle. And the cushion shape has to be hand done. Let me try to get some different lighting. There we go, that's good. So we're going to keep the hand parallel with the lap and start to making our cushion shape. And so now you can already start to see the cushion shape. It has to be perfect though, so I really have to go through and make sure that every corner is even and equal. Okay. Now, I don't want to do the whole thing on this lap because it's too rough. So I'm pretty close to my target shape. And this is the lap I like to do my girdles on because it leaves a nice shiny girdle and it's more subtle cutting than the other lap. Okay. So now here's where we're at. And you can start to see the, well, on the video it doesn't look like much, but I'm starting to notice the color coming through the girdle because it's not so frosty now. So now I really have to start tweaking my shape. It's not perfect yet. So I got to make sure each corner is exactly the same. And I like to use a loop to do this. Just so I can see really up close what's the difference between these four sides. That looks pretty good actually. So let me realign my index again. So I'm just feeling the flat spot, tightening, and then tightening, making sure you're really tight. And then what I want to do is flatten the table again. Yeah, the cushion, for the cushion shape, the oval shape, the pear shape, the marquee shape, they're all shaped by hand. The only time they wouldn't be is if, well, there's two situations where they wouldn't be shaped by hand. One would be if, like for instance, if you're working in a factory where you're going to do 100 cushions in a row, calibrated cushions, they will hand shape them, but then they have a machine that basically has a template, a plastic template. You've got your cushion shape in the template, and you put the stone in there and you turn it like this, and there's a plastic template that it's kind of like following the shape of that template while the grinding wheel is grinding the stone into the shape of the template. So it's a preforming machine. So in that way you can make your perfect shape in about a minute, and it makes the exact same stone shape every time. But if you're not in a big factory, you don't have access to that. I don't have one of those, and also that's not very good for following the actual shape of the stone. So if you're working on a really top emerald or sapphire or ruby, you don't want to just make a generic cushion shape. You want to make the shape where you're taking off as little around the edges of the stone as you can. And so that one's always going to be by hand. The only other time that you wouldn't shape it by hand is if you were going to make like an American style, so you're faceting the girdle. And so your design will have facet edges that will make that cushion shape, but it's not going to be a cushion shape that looks like this. You can always tell. So if we look real close, I don't think that this is done yet. I'm still going to shape it a bit more, but if we look close at where I'm at, you see it's totally smooth. This is the classic look of a cushion. When I see the faceted girdle cushions, some of them do look good depending on the design, but I don't know, to me they don't look, same with an oval. When I see an oval that has a faceted girdle, to me it's not really an oval. Ovals are smooth, and cushions should be smooth too. This is more like a long, I guess you'd call it a antique cushion. It's going to be a rectangular cushion because they want to make a design that's going to work with some already cut stone. So this is a design that will be used for a recut for somebody else later. But I'm just doing the designing. But you can see that's how I've made my cushion shape. I probably look at it again critically and make sure that all four sides are the same, but that's pretty much almost finished. That's pretty much how I want it to look. Maybe it's good already, so we'll see. But I think there's a little bit more tweaking to do. But okay, that's gonna be me for today. Got some other stuff to do that I want to work on before I do this stone, and it's kind of maybe early lunchtime. So thank you guys for the questions. Thanks for hanging out, and once again, I'm going to be on Twitch tomorrow, or like let's say in 36 hours or so. I'm going to be giving a talk, so check it out. Check out the shirts. Thanks for the follow. And if you guys want to financially support this or any of the other free stuff that I've been doing, there is a Patreon link and a donation link just below the video. No obligation there, just throwing it out. If you're into that kind of a thing, I'm into that kind of a thing too. So catch you guys either tomorrow night or next week at the same time, and I'll be working on whatever I'm working on next week. So stay safe, stay hydrated, stay isolated, and yeah, catch you guys soon. See you later.